I've been reviewing all kinds of Thrustmaster. The T128, I have a little bit of a bad experience with this, and this has to do when I was actually buying it. However, I will explain what I mean with this. So this wheel can be used for Xbox, PC, and is this thing really worth it? Because it is a cheaper racing wheel, and in this video we're going to checking out, is this thing really worth it when it comes to the force feedback and the overall gaming experience. It does have like pedals included, and that is something you need to take consideration. Not with every model you're having this. So, and also when it comes to the quality, how is that? So when it comes to Thrustmaster, they do have some interesting things going on, particularly when it comes to, let's say, the hybrid drive, or in other words, the force feedback system they're using when it comes in combination with the belt and the gear drive system. Okay, so let's do a quick overview. What are we getting when it comes to, let's say, the package itself? Because it does contain a lot of goodies and a lot of extras, and connecting this is going to be different than the other racing wheels I've reviewed here. In the package, we're getting the racing wheel itself, the pedals, then we're having a power supply. The power supply is kind of strange. You're using an 18.5 volts. In total, is it a 48 watts that we're getting. The cable that goes in the other side of the power supply. We're having the normal USB-C to the USB and more like an extension cord. And that has to do with the way how you need to connect the racing wheel itself, because it's slightly different than all the other models. But let's take a close look at the wheel itself. It does have a very nice weight to it. We could use it in the gym like that. Oh yeah, no, just kidding, of course. The first thing I noticed that they're using a very compact design when it comes to the racing wheel itself. So what I mean with compact design is when you're looking at the body itself. The body is very compact and very small. Maybe it's even very convenient if you want to put this thing on, let's say, a racing simulator itself. But however, the cheap feel is something that is a little bit disappointing. So first of all, this thing is fully made out of plastic when it comes to wheel. No like leather or rubber compound, nothing at all. So when it comes to the controls, everything is on the wheel itself. There's going to be needing for, let's say, navigating through the menu itself. Having just a normal or 4 buttons cheap feel D-pad, ABXY, and even some extra buttons over here. So then having the home button and all the other functionalities. So you don't need a controller. So that's absolutely great. However, when you're looking at the back, here we're finding the, let's say, flippers or the shifters. And the shifters, they're kind of disappointing. That is something to do because they're made out of plastic. And look at this. There's just membranes underneath, not like this micro switch click. And this is one of the indications that I'm thinking this is absolutely a budget like racing wheel. And it's quite disappointing, especially if you're going to be using this a lot. You're going to be feeling annoyed by it. If you're going to be racing, don't get me wrong, how they are quite comfortable when it comes to, let's say, the shape itself. You can just see how they actually made this. So that is not a problem at all, but it's just the way how they shift and how they feel when you're getting into the game. That is absolutely disappointing. Another fun thing I just wanted to check out is the way how the force feedback feels and the rotation of the wheel. And the rotation of the wheel, you can just see that it is the full, let's say, rotation of the wheel itself. So that's absolutely cool. Underneath we're finding cable management, including some Velcro to keep everything aligned and nicely like put from the connection over here. They're quite difficult to show here. Here we're finding the pedals, the input for the shifter that is separately sold, and the USB-C, and then having the input for the power supply and some extra, let's say over here, some very thick rubberized, I say pads, because it will give you some extra grip if you're going to be putting this thing to your table. Just going to be sticking it in. It's the same kind of configuration that we have seen before, and the tool is actually made out of metal and plastic. I just want to give you a quick look in the connection position, and I can tell you that it's going to be absolutely cable nightmare if you want to connect all of them. But how about the quality and the look and the feel of the pedals? Yeah, the pedals itself, they're just these tiny ones, more like an extra they're giving you in the kit. You can always buy like other ones separately with a shifter and more like an overall fancy situation. That's the thing they're doing with, let's say, the Thrustmaster wheels. So the overall quality, it's a very cheap plastic with some minor cable management over here. And then, of course, we're having the connection, what I understand of their special connections in the pedals itself for the best overall response. But when you're looking at when you're looking at the resistance, even acceleration, they give this thing quite a lot of resistance, but with the brake, man, this absolutely great. Okay, so one of the things I was really curious about is how strong this force feedback is. So with the Forza 7 Motorsport, we're also going to be using some shifters. And I must say, when you're actually going to be playing, it doesn't really feel that bad. I personally prefer to have a metal shifter with a micro switch underneath. Alright, so let's get into the game. Ugh. I'm also very surprised with the force feedback. It's very responsive. I do feel a lot of details. Let's bash the guy. Yeah, nice. But would this be a racing wheel where you need the shifter itself? It depends. If you want to have a shifter in general, yep, that's going to be absolutely something you should buy separately. But so out of the box, nice feedback for actually a budget racing wheel. The comfortability when it comes to, let's say, the racing wheel itself, it feels quite comfortable to hold. I do feel all of the details, especially when you're getting into the corners. Oh, there we go. Oh. In particular with the smaller details, I find it very pleasant. Of course, there is all different ways you can actually adjust the wheel itself. You can get into the options, but just with the normal settings, I'm absolutely surprised how good it actually feels. Another game I love to try is Formula 1. And the reason why, because here we can just actually see how strong the force feedback is and how responsive the wheel is. I can tell you this wheel is crazy when it comes to, let's say, the force feedback. It responds very narrow. And this is absolutely one of the better tests. Let's use the brakes. Okay, next up, let's go to the other corner. And I'm quite surprised how strong the force feedback inside of this thing is. You do feel all of the bumps and craziness. There we go. And I can really enjoy myself with some Formula 1 over here. I realized one thing. My wheel came loose. What the heck is going on? It's the first time. Okay, let's tighten it up a little bit. That's how strong it actually is. Okay, there we go. Attempt number 2. I've been trying a couple of games, no problem, but this engine, this Formula 1 in combination with a strong motoring inside, you need to tighten it up really good on your desk. Oh, there we go. But one thing is for sure, playing Formula 1 with a T128 is a possibility, and you need to assemble this thing to your desk as it should be. Alright, there we go. So to begin with, let's take a close look at the wheel itself. So the way how this thing is made is kind of disappointing with all plastic. And it's kind of disappointing because when you're looking at the motor itself, it's very responsive in combination with all of the different games we've played. And I loved all the overall, let's say, compact design. The shifters, they work great, but it's not the overall, let's say, experience you want to have. And then, of course, the pedals. The pedals, it's kind of cool that they're giving you pedals with this kit, because there are brands out there that just giving you a racing wheel. That's something you really need to look out for. But the pedals, out of the box, they work fine. I find it very responsive and very pleasant to play with. So the combination itself, it's not the most perfect wheel out there, but if you can get this thing cheap, maybe it's still something worth buying. Yeah, again, the biggest problem I had that I picked it up for like the full price, and within a couple of months, it was like getting a discount. And I've lost a lot of money with this between then and now. Nevertheless, thank you all for watching. Consider subscribing. Hope this video helped out, and it will be great to see you in the next video.